1, 2, 1, 2. Do we need to change the? No, I like the other one better. Let's do that one. And just like that, we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. And I got to tell you, it's always good to go back. And on this podcast, we are going back. You see the title. We are taking it back. We're going back to October 29th of 1991. On that day, October 29, 1991, Ice Cube dropped his album, The Death Certificate. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. And I got a special co-host in here, man. Me and this guy, man, we go back. This is his first time on the podcast, and we have been talking about it. And I think what got me to think about getting you on is because I think we were talking about this album a couple of months ago on Twitter, and I was like, you know what, man, I got to get Vernell on this joint, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the 12 Kyle podcast for the first time. My man Vernell. V, what up, man?
What's up, 12 Kyle? How you doing, brother? I'm happy,
Man,
very happy, and appreciate you inviting me to the show, man. I've
man,
been listening. I've
anytime,
been an
man.
avid fan for some
You
years
have
now,
been.
man.
You
Yeah,
have been,
yeah.
and this is a long time coming. But we talked about doing it, especially with our boy Tyrone from Tackless and Know It Alls podcast.
Yes,
Shout out
sir.
to T. The three of us got to get together and do one
Oh, yeah,
together too.
most definitely,
So,
man. That's going to be hours. We might have to
oh
break
yeah,
it into
yeah,
parts.
yeah.
Because
It's
we
definitely
go ramble.
yeah, because he the last one he was on, we did a top. It was our top 5 diss songs, which is
Mm.
apropos because there's an incredible diss song on
Oh,
this album.
yes. Yes.
Um, but yeah, man, let's go back, man. October 29th, 1991, Ice Cube releases Death Certificate, man. So let's go back. Do you
Yes.
remember where you were and what you were doing when this album came out? Like, what grade you were in, or you remember when you bought the album? Just tell me about that experience.
Yeah, so that was 1991. I just moved back to New Orleans, but I
Okay.
went to Atlanta for the summer. And there was these two older guys from Ohio that were living there at the time. And they put me on, I think the first song I heard was Steady Mobbin', but they
Mm.
played the whole cassette for me. And when I heard it, I was like, I'm done. From the intro, man. The intro, the way it starts with the color purple and just the Muslim, the brother and Cube had cut his Jerry. I'm like, where's the Jerry curl?
Hmm.
He just seemed like he came into his own. But yeah, man, I was in Atlanta, but I was in New Orleans when I saw the Steady Mob video on the music video
Okay.
box. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, man. I much like you, man. I just well, first and foremost, I was a huge and still am a huge Ice Cube fan. Like Ice Cube is my favorite member of
Mhm.
NWA. Um, you know, we just like anybody else who was a fan, you were a little concerned because Cube had gone solo. And
Mhm.
while it was I guess it wasn't a big thing for somebody to go solo in a singing group, but you
Mhm.
didn't necessarily leave a rap group. I mean, like, that was kind of unheard of at the time.
Right. Right.
And, and then we also knew that not only did he go solo, but this dude is beefing with the dudes that he came up with. So we're not even sure how this is going to look or how it's going to sound. All we know is that Kill It Will had come out, which was his EP. And was like,
Mhm.
okay, Q got it, but then
Jacking for
NWA
beats.
in Jacking for Beats,
Mhm.
NWA had dissed him on their album. Um, and so we weren't sure how this was going to look. We weren't sure how it was going to sound. We weren't sure about anything. Um, but Death Certificate comes out, like I said, 1991. And I was October 1991. I was in college. I had just started my freshman year at South Carolina State University. Um, but yeah, man, I this album, when I tell you this album blew me away, I
Mhm.
mean it literally blew me away. I had no idea. Um, this album, I think, is I think it was very necessary, but
Yes.
this might be, I tell people all the time, this might be like the blackest, most offensive, because of Cube offended everybody. It was
Everybody, every race,
anti-Semitic. It was homophobic.
anti-Asian.
Yeah, anti. Oh yeah, definitely anti-Asian.
He talked about his own people as well.
Yeah,
He covered the whole gambit,
yeah.
Kyle. Like for
There was
real.
nobody that he didn't talk about on this
Right.
album.
Hmm.
So when you first got your hands on I'm assuming you got the tape, because I had the tape. Um, what were your first thoughts, or your first listen of that particular album?
So I'm gonna tell the young kids out there. I was 13, and there was this thing called the parent advisory sticker, where a
Hmm.
guy of my age couldn't buy. So it was a struggle just to get the cassette. I think I asked my dad to get it. And he was like, "What's this?" I'm like, "Oh man, Dad, it's Ice Cube." My mom, on the other hand, that's another story. But
Right.
when I heard it, I mean, like I said, the intro blew me away. When the guy, I forgot his name, but he was like, him and Cube used to be real tight. He was down with the 5%ers, or he was a Muslim, and he was saying,
Dr. Khalid Muhammad.
I think so. I
Yep.
think that was
Yep.
him. And the way he was sounding, he was speaking with so much pride and to be black. And I was blown away, man. Because, I mean, uh, they don't teach us who we are in high school. You know, you either have to go to college or you have a parent that was into being self aware of who they were as a black man or a black
Hmm.
woman. So, that part I did love about it. The gangster aspect I loved about it because obviously I wasn't in a gang. I
Me
was a
neither.
nerd, right? So he painted a picture for guys like me and you. You're playing sports. I'm an art. I'm into art. So I'm like,
Hmm.
I don't know that world. I see it, yes,
Right. Right.
but he painted that picture, and it was just amazing, man. There's not one song that I skipped. So is it safe to say that in your mind this is a 5 mic classic? Would you call it a classic or
I would definitely call it a classic. It's a classic that I struggle giving it 5 mics,
I
but
see
it's
why?
right there. It's right there. Like, if you said it
It's
was
a
5 mics, I won't argue with you.
four though. I'll give
Um,
it a four.
yeah, I give it like a 4.5. I'm
Mm-hmm.
back and forth. It just depends on the day. Like, there's only one track that I'm like, oh, okay,
I could do
but
without that.
everything else is flawless. And I think part of the things that, and I always talk about this when I do these albums that have aged or what have you, is that we want to try to paint a picture for, especially for those who weren't around or maybe might not have been outside at that particular time.
Mm-hmm.
But what this album did was, this album also did a lot of foreshadowing, um, because
Yes.
we had not had the Rodney King riots yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he touched on everything from drug abuse to police brutality to gang
Yes.
violence to um,
Fast girls.
fast girls to
Yeah.
what do you want to call it? Cultural appropriation. Where
Yes.
you had these minorities coming into the black neighborhoods, buying up, uh, you know,
Gentrification early.
gentrification. Yeah, early gentrification.
And did this come out after Boys in the Hood? I think it
Yeah,
did.
because I think Boys in the Hood came out in '89, I think, without looking it up. So yeah, this was after this. So it's funny, man. You know what's funny? When I think about it, and I think about this album, and I think about Ice Cube in particular,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I know you probably go through this too because your kids are young. Like, my kids know Ice Cube as the "Are We There Yet" guy.
Oh God.
they don't know him as,
They don't know the Jerry Curl
they don't know
straight out of
gangster
Compton.
gangster. They don't know that,
Oh man.
So they know Ice Cube, and it's funny because even before, just yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
I walked in the room and they were watching "Are We There Yet." I mean, they think Ice Cube's this funny, lovable guy,
Oh my.
and nah, he was back then. He was the quote unquote nigga you love to hate. I mean, because
Right. Yes.
Ice Cube was everything. So, but yeah, you're right, man. I just remember when I got this tape, I couldn't stop playing it. Like, I just
Right.
couldn't stop playing it. Everybody in the dorm had it at South Carolina State University, and I just couldn't stop playing it. And it to your point, it did a great job for us as far as making us aware about things that we, weren't really aware of, and just your surroundings, and as
Mm-hmm.
black men, and this it was key for me because at that particular time, like I said, I'm at South Carolina State University, which is a
Mm-hmm.
historically black college. Um, so you're becoming self-aware. So you're 18 years old, 17, 18 years old, and you're becoming self-aware of who you are as a man, a young man. And then you
Mm-hmm.
also add in the piece of the young black man. And it was things, you had the Ice Cube at the time. I don't know if he was ever a member of the 5% Nation. Do you know if
I don't
he
know
ever
that for sure. I don't know that
Yeah,
for
I don't
sure.
I don't
But
know
when
that,
you open
but he
the
was down with
cover,
him.
right, the brothers with the bow ties,
Yes.
everybody was like, "Oh my God, these dudes about to just go to the Capitol and just march." Like before the Million Man March was out, they was ready for that
Right.
action. You know.
Right. So, he wasn't a 5%er, but he was definitely down with him, down with the Nation of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this was such a pro-black album. I always, and it's funny, man, because it's like when I see people do interviews with Ice Cube, I always want them to ask him about this album. Nobody ever asked him
Oh,
about
they
this album.
don't, man.
Nobody never asked. They'll ask about Friday. They'll ask about, his other albums, but they never even they'll ask about America's Most Wanted, but they won't ask about this. But this album right here, like I said, I don't think that there's any album this black.
No, I mean
Unapologetic. Yeah,
besides
yeah, yeah.
PE, but this album is just a unique album. The album cover, man. Who
Yes.
puts the a dead corpse on a gurney with the toe tag Uncle
Toe tag
Sam on there?
Uncle
Toe
Sam.
tag Uncle Sam. I'm like, and it's oh man, we're gonna get into it as we break down the tracks because I got
Right.
some connections that, like you said, it was a four. What's the uh, a precursor to certain things that
Mm-hmm.
happened in my life or certain events that
Mm-hmm.
happened in America. So yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, he touched on just about anything. I mean, excuse me, any and everything. This album runtime is 61 minutes, and to be honest, it doesn't feel like it's 61 minutes,
No, it doesn't.
but it goes by relatively quickly. The listed producers on here, Sir Jinx, which is Ice Cube's
A
cousin,
beast. Right.
yes, pure beast, a
Mm-hmm.
legend. Ice Cube executive produced it, and DJ Pooh.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, like, again, some of the themes that he talked about, he covered. There was nothing that he didn't cover,
Right.
from drug dealing to racial profiling
Selling out
to
as a black man.
selling out. Exactly, selling out,
The hammer.
keeping keeping your guns. So,
Right. You don't need a dog. The gun is your best friend. I
yeah,
mean,
gun is man's best friend.
oh man.
Um, and to say that this album, you know, started some controversy is a huge understatement. This album actually went, this album went platinum.
Hmm.
Um, but it was one of those albums that, when you had it, like I said, you just rocked out to it, and it was amazing, man. And it still reverberates to this day as far as what
It's
he was
aged
trying to do.
very well, man. It's
Yes,
aged like
very well.
fine wine. Yeah.
Very well. Um, so yeah, that's out of production. What did you, before we even get into the tracks, what did you think about the overall production? Because I know we touched on it a little bit, but there was heavy sampling in this album,
Oh yeah.
and it took us back, man. What did you think about the production?
So being 13, I think OG just dropped OG Original Gangster with Ice T, and the production on there was crazy. So like you
Mm-hmm.
said, Ice Cube did the Kill at Will EP. That production was crazy. Then you for Cube to get the Bomb Squad to go to the East and get the
Yeah,
Bomb
man.
Squad and do America's Most Wanted was amazing in itself. So
Yes.
then to go from that to Death Certificate, the production, I mean, it got me into Parliament. It got
Yes.
me heavy, heavy Parliament samples, heavy Funkadelic samples. It was just an overall, the production to me was top notch, man. I had no complaints. Like I said, there may be one or two songs that I might like, it's okay. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, man, I have no complaints about the production. They were
Yeah,
on their A game, man.
I agree totally, man. That just shows you the versatility of Ice Cube, because you mentioned, America's Most Wanted, him going out to the East to give it the Bomb Squad,
Unheard
which
of.
was
Unheard of.
Yeah, that never happens. And I mean, hip hop fans know that the Bomb Squad is Public Enemy's, major production team. And
Hmm.
so to do that, to be a West Coast cat, and then say,
Right.
okay, you know what, I'm going over here to the East Coast, and they created an incredible album. That's my favorite Ice Cube album.
Hmm.
Um, and then you come back, and again, him, DJ Pooh, Sir Jinx, they took they squeezed every bit of Parliament.
They did, man.
I mean,
They
like
did.
they didn't leave any songs out. I mean, and
No.
that's you mentioned something about Parliament, and I think that's the beauty of this particular era of hip hop,
Hmm.
because what it did for you is probably similar to what it did for me, wherein you may have heard, I know I did, you may have heard, your mom and dad, uncles, aunts, whomever, car parties playing Parliament, or you might have just heard it, riding in the car, whatever the case may be, when you were a kid, when you were
Hmm.
shorty. And then you go from that to now all of a sudden we're back into music, and hip hop is taking those samples from those old records, and they're putting it into the music now, and you're
Hmm.
being reintroduced. And then it makes you, if you're a fan, it makes you go dig even deeper for Parliament, for
Yes.
and groups like that, George Clinton, Bootsy Collins. I mean, all of these
Right.
people, they were legends and great in their own right in their era in the 70s and 80s. And then hip hop basically recycles
Right.
their music, and then it
Hmm.
reintroduces them to another generation. So what was your take on just that element of using the funk on this album?
That element was very important because we know like Dre is very
Yes.
Parliament sample driven, like Let Me
Yes.
Ride is Parliament. So what Sir Jinx and Pooh and all the great producers of this era did for
Hmm.
me was like I'll hear it. Then as I got older, I'm like, man, let me go pick out some Parliaments. I'm like, oh snap, this is the song they used on
Right. Right.
um to be young and dumb, growing up doing dumb shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the song. So it makes you appreciate and know that these producers went
Hmm.
digging and was like, yo, let's mix this. And I'm like, I appreciate that, dude. A lot of people like Mad Lib and all our favorite producers, the RZA,
Hmm.
Dilla, and Pete Rock, they get punished and like kind of
Yeah.
spanked on the hand by some of the OGs because like you're sampling my music. I need you to pay. But it really they was paying homage, in my
That's
opinion.
that's
And
all it
and it
was.
just like you said, they introduced us to a whole nother world of music. We're gonna listen to hip hop, but I'm also gonna listen to the music my parents listened to. I think that's very important, and I don't hear it too much these days, with the new music. But
Hmm.
you might hear some young kids sample
Some.
Jodeci, some,
Some.
very few. But during from like 87 to like 96, man, was just glorious. Just
Yeah,
it
man.
was until the politics got involved. But yeah, man, the production that they did on Death Certificate just really it just made me go back and listen to other stuff, man, like other
Yeah,
music.
man.
So
And that really, that's what it's all about. It is there to, and I think when they were making that type of music, that's what their intent was, to reintroduce. Because if you think about it, you take a guy like you said, Dre or Ice Cube in this case, you know, they're a little bit older than us, but
hmm.
they grew up listening to that music. So they were what people in the South call old souls.
Yeah,
So,
yes,
they were
yes.
old souls. So they appreciated that type of music, and they just gave it back to another generation. And like you said, you hit the nail on the head. I don't listen to a lot of today's rap, but I
Neither
don't
do I.
hear that. Yeah, the little bit of it that I do listen to, I don't hear it. I don't hear that kind of homage being brought back, because it's really and truly there's a lot of music that they could sample from the 90s that they don't.
Yeah, and I've heard kids sample Jodeci. I've heard
Mhm.
kids sample Brownstone, Raphael Sadiq with the Wale
Yes.
song. So it's like we said, it's a few, but man, it was a plethora of producers. Just
Man, listen.
Tribe, De La, Far Side. I mean, they was just sampling every and anything. Wu Tang. It was just Outkast is just a different beast in itself because they play live
Yes,
instruments
sir.
and samples. So organized noise is that's another
Out
story,
of
bro.
here. Out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah, so we can jump into the tracks, man. So the album starts off just to give you listeners an idea. There's Vernell and I had the tape, right? So it's cassette tape. So on the tape, there's such things called an A side, and then there's a B side. I gotta break it down like this.
Right.
So
Like they got people listening that's young.
because they don't know. So like there's an A
Yeah.
side and there's a B side. So normally
Yes,
if you had 7 tracks on the A side, then you had 7 tracks on the B side.
that's
And
correct.
uh Ice Cube on this particular album, he named the A side the death side, and he named the B side the life side. And I'll explain why he did that in just a few. But the death side is what is it, 11 tracks. So really,
Mhm.
if you think about it, I never really looked at it until I thought about it like this. In a way, this was kind of like a double album, but it wasn't a double album. But
Right.
it, if it had come out in if it had come out in the 90s, it would have been a double album.
96. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a double album. But so there's 11 tracks on the A side, on the death side, and then there's an additional 9 tracks on the life side. So it starts off with the
The
funeral.
funeral. Oh my God.
What did you think about the funeral?
It the sound effects. I felt like
Yes.
I was in the procession with them. I was looking at the guys like on three. 1, 2, 3, lift. Then you open the church doors. The
Mm-hmm.
organ's playing. People are wailing. We know about black funerals,
Yeah.
and we
Come on
show
now.
out. We show up and show out. You gonna cry. The organ's gonna be playing. Somebody's gonna pass out because they feeling guilty because they didn't spend enough time with that
Right.
said dead person.
Right.
So when it opens the doors and the organ's playing and the preacher's going off, and then he's like, he was a good brother. He didn't get into excessive amount of trouble, but one thing, it was one thing. He was the wrong
Wrong.
nigga to fuck with. Then the beat, bro.
Yes.
I mean, come on, man. The beat comes in, just
Yes.
hits you so hard in the chest.
Yeah, man.
Whenever I
That
play that, bro, I think I played it in the garage one time. And my neighbor,
okay.
he's a few years older than me, and he's like, "Man, you got any Two Live Crew or Dr. Dre NWA?" And I'm like, "Nah, I got that death certificate though." It's like, "Man, play that." I turn the speakers up. You gotta play the second song after funeral very loud because
Yes.
he's very
Yes.
aggressive. Oh, what did you
Very.
think about the funerals? The funeral song,
Man, I'm with you, man. The funeral it sounded like a funeral. I mean,
right?
and it's interesting how he weaves in and out because if you think about it, um, it was on America's Most Wanted. Ice Cube begins on death row. That's how the album
Mm,
starts. He's on death row. They're
mm-hmm.
walking him into the chamber. He's about to get the electric chair,
Electric
whatever the
chair,
case may
yeah.
be. And so this is the flip side of that. He's this is the intro to this album, and he's he's dead. It's a funeral. So you hear, like you said, the wailing, you hear the man on the organ, you hear the preacher talking or whatever like that. And it's funny that the preacher say he's the wrong nigga to fuck with, which would be something
In church.
something crazy to say in church.
Woo.
And then when he says he was the wrong nigga to fuck with, the beat drops and it goes right into track 2, the wrong nigga to fuck with. Oh my gosh, man. This is now
Jesus.
and this song is only 2 minutes and 48 seconds, but this is so hard that it is ridiculous, man. What
It's
did you
a
think about this track, man?
Now that I think about it, when I go back to the gym, whenever COVID dies down,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be one of my workout songs.
Oh yeah.
Cause
Yeah.
he's like, God damn, and then a beat coming in. Oh man, I just was blown away, bro. And I was thinking about the funeral, like how your boy's like, "Where's the obituaries?" He was like, "Lisa got it." Like just it's all. But nah, man, the second song, how he comes in the second song is very aggressive. It's very like in your face, like Q busting through that on the
mm-hmm.
NWA video.
Mm-hmm.
Straight from Compton.
Yep.
crazy
Yep.
motherfucker named Ice Cube. So it had that same energy. Like he still had his foot in the NWA bag when he did
Yes.
the second song drop.
Yes.
So I'm like,
Yes.
oh shit. So
I
yeah, man,
said
that song
I
blows me
said the
away.
same thing. I said the same thing, man. He really went back to Ice Cube from NWA on
Mm-hmm.
that track. I mean, like the loudness, the aggression, and it was his statement. Just letting people know, like, look, I'm Ice Cube. If you,
I'm here.
he had, yeah, I'm here. I got something to prove. I ain't scared of nobody. These
Right.
dudes over here, they talking shit. I don't care. They can
Got
get
these
it too.
Muslim
I mean,
brothers with me. You know what I
right.
mean? They all ex criminals. They got the 45s and the Glocks on them. So
Exactly.
come
And
on.
it's like if it was 2021, you would have said he was with the smoke. He wanted
Right.
all the
Oh, he
smoke,
wanted all the smoke, bro.
all the smoke, every last drop
Yeah.
of it. And
Yeah.
so that was a great track, track two. And then you go into track three, My Summer
Woo!
Vacation.
My
Man,
God.
what,
This
what
has
did
to
you
be
think
one of
about
my
this one,
favorites.
man? Oh yeah,
This is another example of Cube's pen and story ability, story writing ability, storytelling ability. This dude had me on the plane with him.
yes,
I'm watching the whole shit while I'm bumping to my Walkman with my cassette. I'm like, damn, they going to, we going to St. Louis. You know what I mean? We about to set up shop, take
hmm
over their hoods. The crack game has started popping off already. We about to go set up shop and just have these dudes wearing out, throwing up gangs like us, wearing our
gangs.
dickies and our
Yep,
khakis, our colors, dying over streets they never heard
never
of.
heard of.
1991 Tony Montana.
Anna. Hmm.
So this song is just this is another example of Cube's pen at that time was just really, like I said, man, it took me from New Orleans to Cali, getting on LAX, then flying to Missouri,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this guy is amazing. Why is he
Yeah,
taking
man.
me there? I mean, how did you feel
Yeah.
about my summer
I
vacation?
I loved it, man. This thing is so vintage Ice Cube because, like you said, he is such a dope writer. We knew that he did most of the writing for NWA. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Ren wrote his stuff, but he wrote for Dre and for Cube, and I mean, excuse me, Dre and Easy,
Easy.
and and his ability to tell stories, and I think that's one of the lost arts, as far as hip hop is concerned.
Yes.
And because nobody tells stories anymore, and they definitely don't tell stories like this. But you know, for those of you who haven't heard the song, Ice Cube basically talks about how him and his partners, they got tired of slinging drugs in LA, so they decided to catch a flight to St. Louis. They set up shop, took over the corners, and had it popping for a minute. Excuse me. And then his homeboy got shot, and then they had to kind of pack up shop and then go back to LA with the tails in between their legs. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was just it, and stuff like that really happens. And
Right.
so what it did was it mirrored society because at that particular time, yeah, LA was definitely known for gangs, but it
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
the gang culture at that particular, at least from what we knew. Because again,
Right.
folks,
We didn't have the
kids,
internet.
kids, we didn't have the internet,
No, we did
so
not. We had
uh,
magazines and television.
that was it. So gangs. I'm sure that there were gangs outside of LA, but not like that. And so when
No.
you had a chance to listen to him tell this story, it sounded so vivid and so real. And that's one of the things that I
Mm-hmm.
love about Ice Cube as far as how he writes, is that he paints a very detailed picture. And I mean, you
Yeah.
could just see him and his homeboys going to LA, I mean, going to St. Louis, setting up shop,
And that's
got
bold
everybody.
at that time. That's bold to go to somebody. That's like, okay, somebody come in your house and be like, Kyle, I need you to turn off all sports or, do this and do that. You can't go to somebody else's town. And the fact
Mhm.
that y'all LA Cali dudes went to St. Louis and thought these dudes wasn't going to retaliate
Right,
was,
right.
was beyond my thinking. It still is like, damn, y'all niggas was real bold.
Real bold. I mean, because they're
Jesus.
coming from LA. They're thinking, okay, these St. Louis dudes are slow. Like
They
they just,
country. Right.
yeah, they country.
No.
They're not gonna back down. But great story rhyme right there.
Awesome.
Um,
Yes.
then we move to track four, Steady Mobbing, which he did a video for. What do you think
Yes,
about that one?
that was another like the kids, like we tell the kids, man, we weren't flying everywhere. We wasn't, we didn't have the bag, or we didn't
Hmm.
have the internet. So once again, he paints a day in the life of being in LA or being in Compton or being in the Watts or being in 213, you
Hmm.
know? So that song was just, it was kind of funny. It
Yeah.
has some comedy in it because like, yo, man, I saw Sir Jinx. It's like, you little brothers be popping, man, get in, fool. And I had to drop a load at mom's house, coming
Mom's
out feeling
crib.
about
Yep.
10 pounds
10
lighter.
pounds lighter.
And people still quote that to this day. Martin
Man,
quoted it. I
I still
still
quote
say
it.
it. Right.
Feel
So that's
about
the
10
power.
pounds
That
lighter.
song, the chorus, which is
Yes.
another branch of Parliament. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it was another dope song. The
Yeah.
sequencing, Kyle, how
Yes.
it's sequencing, right? It's like it's just threading from song to song. There's no like, oh man, I could skip this song. No, it's very
Mm-mm.
sequenced very well.
Very
Yeah,
well.
bro. So
Very,
that's
and
another
a
one of my
sequence, the
songs.
sequence, and it definitely matters, especially now. You're talking about an
Hmm.
album that's 30 years old, because it
Yes.
it doesn't feel like it's 30 years old, but when you look at how the songs were sequenced, it actually makes even more sense now than it did back then. I'm with you, man.
Hmm.
I love the video. I love, like you said, it talks. It's just a day in a life, and that's the thing. Like, I want to impress upon those who are younger, who may be listening or watching this. Um, when you tell the story, you're able to paint that picture and put people in the place where you want them to be. So, like you
Yes.
said, you're in New Orleans, I'm at South Carolina State. At that particular time, like I had been to LA, but I only went like for
Hmm.
the Super Bowl. So I wasn't like I hadn't I was in Metro LA. I was in Pasadena. I wasn't in Compton. So
Wow. Proper.
this was
Right.
foreign to me. So it was when you
The
rhyme like
beat.
that. Yes.
Right.
When
The
you rhyme
beat.
like
The
that,
beat was hard. Right.
the beat was
Yeah,
crazy.
man.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it
But when
was.
you
It
rhyme like
was.
that,
I
you
think that
you put the
my wife,
go ahead.
that's the only song she knows off that album. She knows. I'm like, baby, you never heard that's the She's like, nah, all I know is like, let me get Steady Mom. She's like, yeah.
Steady
So
mobbing. Yep.
yeah,
Steady
yeah,
mobbing.
great
Then you
song.
get to track 5, which is an interlude. Robin Lynch. What would you think
Paste
about Robin Lynch?
5,000 G.
5,000 G.
Oh man, it was so horrible. So Robin Lynch takes you on this trip in the hood, and like you said, it's degrading to women. It's very. It was just another. That was actually a funny skit because it's like
It was.
they tried to shoot him. But it's like,
Right.
yeah, this is Robin Lynch. Like, get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Hey, bitch, how much for head? Like, oh, whoa, damn, Robin, you wilding out here, bro. So yeah, that skit was hilarious, man. The guy doing it does several voices on this album too.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
again, for those of you who might not catch the context, or the correlation, Robin Lynch is a play on a guy that used to be on TV named Robin Leach. Robin
Yes.
Leach hosted a show called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And
Yeah.
he would, so just think in your mind, uh, before
Wasn't it
Instagram,
early?
if
Wasn't that
yeah,
early reality?
yeah,
Early
it was. It
reality
was.
type
It really
TV?
was,
Yeah.
because it was like reality. Like, he would go into their homes and they would show. Think like on the MTV Cribs type of vibe.
Cribs.
Um,
Yeah.
he would go into their homes and show what they were living like in their houses or whatever like that. And so what this is a play on that particular, because I think Robin Leach was, or is, I'm not sure if he's still alive. I'm assuming he is, but he was English, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah.
so that's why he has this accent on here. But Robin Lynch on this skit, instead of taking them to Hollywood or the Beverly Hills or what have you, he's going to the hood. And so all of the stuff that you would think would happen in the hood is happening on this particular skit. So it is a very, very funny skit, man. And
Yeah.
it's still he kills
Oh,
me when he's like,
tell him about
peace.
the Lynch part.
What, as far as like the lynch mob?
Yeah, because I don't think they know like why would he change Robin Leach to Lynch, but yeah, like the kids who don't know, like Lynch
Hmm.
Mob was consisted of Ice Cube,
Yep.
uh, the Lynch Mob, Dell, the Funky Homo Sapien, Yo Yo, and several other members. Sir
Yeah, that was
Jinx,
Ice. What was the Gorillas in the Mist crew? I can't remember that.
that
I
was
can't
Lynch
remember
Mob.
those guys' names. Yeah, that was
Oh,
Lynch
by
Mob.
the names, yeah, I forgot their name, but I
Yeah, I
was
can't remember the
they
names,
was
but
black too. They was black. They had a
yep,
Blackity Black album as well.
yep,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
that was so the Lynch Mob was Ice Cube's crew, and
Hmm.
so yeah, so he changed it. So they changed the name to Robin Lynch. But I again, funny skit, man, funny skit.
Yes, yes.
Then we moved to track 6, giving up the nappy dugout, man. What you got on
My
this one?
God. So I think Juice came out maybe after this or before this, and I heard Samuel Jackson talking to the brother. He was like, "Man, she gave me the snappy nappy dugout, man, snappy nappy dugout." And then Ice Cube comes out with the snappy nappy dugout, and it's one of those songs where I'm like, "Am I old enough to be listening to this?" Like I'm 13
Yeah,
at
because
the
you said
time,
yeah,
but
you 13. Yeah. You was a
I'm
little
like,
too.
should
You
I
was
be
a young
listening to
buck.
this? But yeah, so hormones racing. I'm like, oh, the
Right,
snappy
right.
nappy dugout. Okay. So yeah, man, I dug that song as well, bro. It was I'm trying to think of the lyrics. How did you feel about that song?
Man, again, a very uh misogynistic,
Yes.
coarse, crude. Um, it was all of that, but it was jamming.
Yeah, it
Like
was. It was.
he in one verse he talks about going to
Oh,
a
how it
girl's
started.
yeah, going to the girl's house
Yes, the
and
dad.
he has and the dad answers the door and she was like, yeah, Cheryl home. He was like, man, I ain't letting my daughter Cheryl go out with no nigga named Ice Cube. He was like, I raised my daughter in a Catholic school, a
School,
private
private
school.
school.
And so
Man,
Ice
let me
Cube
tell you
goes on to
something.
proceed to tell him
Oh, it
about
was
his daughter.
horrible. It
And so
was
it was so
horrible, bro.
disrespectful. He was
It
like,
was.
and then he said, and if she decides to call rape, we got the little hooker on tape.
That was horrible, dog. Looking back at it now,
Yeah. A very
it's
problematic lyric.
very. Q would have got canceled for that song off top.
Yeah. Now that
They would have
again,
canceled
and
him.
that's something that me and my boy Eclectic, shout out to Eclectic. That's something we've talked about on podcasts before. Like, in the 90s, we got a lot of shit got off
Oh,
when that wouldn't get off today
right. Like the
at
last
all.
episode y'all did with the Tribe Makes 30, the low end
Yeah.
theory, and the date rape song. Like,
Date rape.
take it off. Time out. Time
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
Take it off,
that's
bro. But
that
like you
song
said,
didn't
the
age
90s
well.
was getting away with so much.
Yeah.
And living
So
color, like, oh God.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
pushing
that's
the envelope was easy back then.
Snappy
Um,
Nappy Dugout. I'm sure if that father loved his child, he probably at the end of the song, Cube would have probably got Swiss cheesed up or his ass
oh, no
beat.
question.
He
No
would have got
question.
stomped out, dog. Like, come on.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. But yeah, again, there's a message there because he's talking about, her being promiscuous and she's
Why is
sleeping
she?
with all
Right. My
these
question,
yeah,
why is she promiscuous?
she's sleeping with all of these guys and stuff like that. And it's a
Right.
perfect lead into the next song.
Oh my
Look who's burning.
God.
Track
Bro.
7.
Okay.
So look who's burning
Oh my
starts off
God.
with Ice Cube being at the clinic. Now Ice Cube is at the clinic because he's there to get some free Jimmy hats,
Right, right.
which is what we
But
call rubbers back in the day.
his
And he
boy
runs into
Philip
his
Brown.
boy, Philip Brown is in there.
Hey, what you
Philip
doing
Brown
here,
told him
man?
that
I'm here
he
to get
told him,
I'm here to get a physical and shit. For my job, they ask you for a physical. All right, then stay up, homie. Philip Brown. Yeah, I'm Philip Brown. I'm here to get a physical. We don't get physicals here. Oh, you don't? No, all we test for is syphilis, gonorrhea, and herpes. What's the matter? You're burning, huh? And I'm like, bruh.
that's
I'm
perfect. That
I'm
is perfect what you just did.
Because it stuck to me. It was like I said, man. Cube was bringing us places. We're in the clinic right now. We
Yeah.
sitting with Ice Cube. We watching the whole shit go down. Like this nigga. You think you going there to get some Jimmy Hats and for a physical? Like nah. You. She burned you, bro.
Right.
You dripping down there. That's not good, homie.
Yeah, man.
I
It
love the
was.
song, bro.
I do
I'm
too.
13. I'm a hormonal. My hormones are kicking in. And I'm thinking about, I'm trying to get
Right.
some trim. I'm trying to get trim.
Trim.
You know what I mean. And this song kind of scares me. Kyle, my
Yes.
brother, it
Yes.
scares me like, damn, I can get burnt. It was like a sex
Mm-mm.
ed class, right?
And that's exactly what it was supposed to be. That's
So
exactly what it was supposed to be.
how did you
I
feel
loved it,
about
man.
that?
I loved it. And like you said, you were 13, I was 18, right?
Right. So
So
you
I'm in college.
right.
So
Yeah, women everywhere.
it's
Yeah.
and a black college at that. So
Yeah.
you already
Oh
know.
God. Oh God.
So you hear this song and it's like a cautionary tale. Like and it is what you just said. It's a sex ed song without being preachy.
Right.
And I think that's the brilliance of Ice Cube, that it doesn't come off as preachy at all. He's telling a story and it's a cautionary tale. Like, look, he never said, "Hey, don't have sex." He's just like, "Look, protect yourself,
Right.
man and woman, protect yourself. Don't
Right.
you can't worry, not even worrying about being pregnant. Just protect yourself." And some of the bars in that song is just funny, man. But it's
Oh
just
yeah.
just the way that it starts with them being in the clinic, and Philip Brown he has convinced everybody that he's just there for his physical.
Right.
And the nurse just she says it out loud. What's the
She
matter? You
puts him on
burning?
blast. She blasts him on the intercom. I'm like, you
Oh
dirty
my
bitch.
God. Man, that was
Yes, I
hilarious.
am, but I didn't want the whole clinic to know I was
Right,
burning.
right, right,
Thanks.
right,
Thank
right.
you, Nurse Blaster.
And then we
Yeah.
get to track 9, Man's Best Friend.
Oh wow.
What did you think
Yeah.
about this one, man? This is another jam.
Okay, the so we in history of rap, there's gun analogy songs. There's
Mm-hmm.
the Tupac, Me and My Girlfriend. There's
Mm-hmm.
the Pharaoh Monch, the uh, Straight
I
Bullet,
know. Yep. Yep.
Organized Confusion, and there's the Nas, I Gave You
Yep.
Power.
I gave you power.
And this was just, I don't say it's in the same vein, but it's just the analogy of the dog, like Rin Tin Tin, Spud McKenzie, Benji, uh, all the dogs that we grew up with television. He refers to him like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
the dog is cool to have in your house, but I'm in Cali, I'm in LA when dudes are coming to knock down your door to get the weed stash or
Facts.
just rob you, and a dog ain't gonna save you. They gonna bite him, but this gun, homie, this gun is gonna get you right.
Yes.
This gun is gonna bite you harder than this bullet. I mean, harder than the
Exactly.
dog will. So I loved it, especially toward the end where they had the little snippets of different songs. Just don't let me see you shoot no dogs, and stuff like that. So that's another great song.
Yeah, I agree. It's the irony of it.
Hmm.
In a lot of ways, Ice Cube is promoting the idea of owning guns, and he's not talking about it illegal. He's saying like, look, you are an American
Have a
citizen.
right to
You
bear
have a right to
arms.
bear arms, and we
That's
all
right.
do.
Right.
And I always tell the joke even now, like, if we wouldn't have as many problems with the NRA if more black people had guns. Because if everybody black went and got guns, the NRA would shut everything down.
Dog, they're
But
doing
but
it
but
now. They
but
kind of
that's that that's another
they're
story for another day. But yeah, I love this song, man. He
hmm
again, Ice Cube storytelling, spitting rhymes, spitting
It's
bars, and
pen,
it's just
right?
and that stuff is still relevant to this day. It still makes sense to me as to how he got to that point. Um,
The sampling
and
of
then
Atomic Dog as well to
man, listen,
accompany the dog references.
I'm not sure how many times Atomic Dog was sampled on this album.
A lot.
I
Just
just
George
know
Clinton, man. Period.
yeah, man. I mean,
Great song.
can't
Great song.
can't you can't go wrong. Then we get to track 10, Alive on Arrival. Love this
Mm.
joint, man. What did you think about this one?
So this was this still side A, right?
Yeah, it's still side A. It's the last full track of side A.
Oh, when he's rolling with his homies
No,
and he
he's
gets
where he
shot,
gets shot and then he's in the hospital.
he blacks out.
Yes.
Once again, I'm sound like a broken record. I'm in the hospital with Ice Cube. watching him get overlooked by overstaffed hospital. He said, MLK, this is where you go to die. They don't help you. So I'm
Yes.
shot and I'm bleeding. Niggas stepping over me to get closer to the
Mhm.
TV. I'm
TV.
in the hospital, right? Watching, done watch 2 episodes of MASH.
MASH.
So once again, it's another example. Nobody, niggas don't watch MASH. We didn't watch MASH. But anyway, yeah, bro, just another great example of Cube's ability to tell a story from
Yes.
his perspective and put you in the seat with him, the passenger seat with him on this ride. We're still on the ride from
Yes.
the death
Yes.
side, you know. So let's. I mean, how did you feel about it? It was just
I love this song, man. This song, it is very descriptive, but it's also problematic for how
yeah,
real it is because you could see that happening. I mean, not only does Ice Cube get shot, he gets shot and he goes to the hospital and he can't get help because he said, since we're poor, the hospital moves slow. So he's
right,
literally in the waiting room with a gunshot wound and he's bleeding and he don't know how he's gonna make it. And he said he really doesn't start to get help until he starts cussing. He already watched
right,
2 episodes of MASH, and then when he's just about to get help, the police come in and they're questioning him. And I mean, like, that's crazy to me. Like, I'm I'm sitting here with a bullet inside me, and you're asking me questions about
hmm.
who shot me.
Who's the
And he was like, "Was
gangbang?
it?"
Was the
He's like,
gangbangers?
He was like, "Who's the game?" He's like, "I had to be." It's like, "I don't know." He's like, "Why?" He said, "Why does it matter, man? I'm
Was this?
shot."
He's then the other part. He's like, "What does it matter, man? I'm shot."
Yeah, I'm shot. Yeah, and that part right there was a sledgehammer to me
Mm,
because you know that is so true. Why I'm sitting
yeah,
here, I'm shot, I'm bleeding, I'm possibly
right.
dying, and you're asking me who shot me. At this point, it doesn't matter. I just need help. And
Medical
he said,
assistance.
he goes on to talk about it, and then he says, he checks out, and when he said, "I'm out at 5,000," you hear the flat line go, and he basically dies, and then it goes
Right.
into the next track, which is the death, which is recited by Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Now, Khalid Abdul Muhammad
Hmm.
was a member of the Nation of Islam. If I'm not mistaken, he was, and y'all can, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but at that particular time, I want to say he was Louis Farrakhan's right hand man. So in essence,
Hmm.
he was to Farrakhan at this particular time this album came out. He was to what Farrakhan was to what Malcolm X was to
Elijah
Elijah
Muhammad.
Muhammad.
Right.
So that's how high this guy was. He passed away a few years ago, but he's
Oh,
on this
really?
album and he passed away. I want to say he passed away
Wow. I
from
didn't know
cancer.
that.
I think he passed away from cancer. Um,
Wow.
but very very deep guy. Um, yeah, oh wow, he passed away in 2001. I thought it was a couple of years ago. Um, yeah,
Jesus.
2001. Yeah, man, Khalid Muhammad.
Oh
And
man, I didn't know.
but he was 53 when he passed, so he's relatively young.
Oh man,
Um,
rest in peace.
yeah, rest in peace. And so he talks about, he's in essence, in a lot of ways, kind of eulogizing the end of the album. And
Hmm.
then you go to side B, which is the life side, and he starts it off again, but he's talking about the birth. And
Yes.
this side, wherein I think you could probably say that the side A, the death side, is more of a darker side.
Hmm.
The life
It
side
is.
is
You're
is
right.
is more it's more life, but it is pro black as hell.
Yeah.
I'm, I'm talking about power to the people.
His
You
words,
know,
bro, when he comes in with the birth, the
yes,
music, and you can hear the child being
yeah,
born. And he's like, "We are
mm-hmm,
the beginning. We
mm-hmm,
are the end." So I'm getting some black pride. Like my parents weren't super pro black, man.
yes,
I'm keeping it a buck. They were. My dad was doing this thing. My
okay,
parents were divorced. I'm a teenager. Teenage years are confusing. So now, this guy
yes,
that's preaching and speaking on Ice Cube's second part of his album is like telling me I'm the alpha. I'm the omega. I'm the creator of mathematics and science. I'm like,
yes.
really? Like that
And
gave
see
me
that
pride.
Vernell, I think that's the thing that that is very key about an album like this or Public
Hmm.
Enemy is because we were in our formative stages as far as our development, as far as, like I said, coming into who we were as black men. And
Hmm.
in a lot of ways, they talked about things and they talked about people that we had never heard of. So when you talk
Right.
about, Malcolm X, or you talk about Elijah Muhammad, or you talk about Marcus Garvey, or any other
Mm.
political
Yes.
figure or historical figure, Frederick Douglass, a lot of
Father
times
Divine, Clarence
that,
X.
yeah, that was our introduction. And again, we didn't have the internet, so we couldn't
No,
look
we
it up on
didn't.
Google. So you could have been in a household where you were taught to be proud that you're black, but it's another thing to hear it through the music and to hear
Right.
that, get
Right.
those kind of images and those kind of messages. I think were very key, particularly in
Hmm.
our formative years as we were growing up. So I thought that was dope. So
Amazing.
he did the birth. The birth was track 12, and then we
Hmm.
go into track 13. I want to kill Sam. Uh, what did you think about this one, man?
So this is what I wanted to tell you earlier.
Okay.
The how the guy's like, "Hi, I'm with the army recruiter. Would you like to like, Mama, some man at the front door? Like, hey, I'm with the army. I want to recruit your son." Funny story. Years later, my mom talks to this recruiter,
Oh
and
wow.
I ended up enlisting in the Army National Guard to help pay for college.
Okay.
So that's so weird that when I hear I want to kill Sam, that it kind of was the same. Like, yeah, what are you doing? Or you know what you want to do with your life? And just that story just was like showed you the tomfoolery with the government,
Yes.
and it sounded like when they get you in the military and you go to basic training, it's basically it's like getting on a ship. Like back in the day when they packed all the slaves together. It's
Mm.
weird, dude. I'll have to tell you another story about the military another time. But the song was
how long
just
were
it
you in the
just
service? Because I don't think I ever knew you. How long were you in the
I
service?
did 8 years. I did eight
Oh wow,
years.
that's
I
what's
did
up.
6 in the National Guard and I did a year overseas with the active
Okay.
duty army. Yeah, yeah. So I served my country, Uncle Sam. Give me my money.
Thank you for your
But
service.
yeah, man. But yeah, that song was it just made you aware. Like he was warning us, like, don't fall for it. You're a black man about to get out of high school. They looking to come get you. Don't work for their
Facts.
army. It's their army. It's their system. The system that has been on step put keeping their foots on our necks since we got here or when we were already here. So it was just a warning, another warning, like, don't do it, young brother. Don't do it.
Man,
So yeah,
listen.
that's what I got out of that song. But at the time I
Yeah.
didn't know, you
Yeah.
know?
Right. And you're
Hindsight.
right, man. It is definitely that. It it definitely speaks to that process of, like you said, getting out of high school. And for a lot of people, and I'm sure grew up with people like this, and you and I did too. you know when high school was or when it was coming toward the end of high school, you got one or two a couple of options. You could either go to college,
Hmm.
or you could go to work, or you can go into the military.
Right.
And those were the options for young black men. And it's just, particularly for a kid who might have come out of high school and was kind of not really feeling school, or maybe you just barely got out of high school. Maybe you got out of high school fine and you're just like, what, I'm done with school. You
Right.
know, Here comes the recruiters, and they make it sound like, uh, the armed forces the best places to be in the world. Like, it's
What's the
like
slogan they say? We do more
more
than
before
the
6 a.m.
average before 6 a.m. that you're doing a whole day.
whole
Like,
day. Yep.
oh,
And
word?
so, the pit, that's the pitch, and so,
Mm-hmm.
like, even like when I graduated from high school in 1991. I know people who graduated with me that they went off into the service, and a little thing called Desert Storm happened. So then,
Mm.
so now, you pitch this idea of, okay, hey, yeah, it'll be great. You're going to the army next, and you sign up, you go to basic training, and then you come out of basic training and you're going to the Gulf of Mexico. But not
Oh
the
my
Gulf of
God.
Mexico. What am I thinking about?
Kuwait?
Kuwait. That's where you're going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're going there, and no, it's just not. You don't belong over in the Gaza Strip fighting people over oil. or whatever it was for, because
Killing people you
we
don't even know.
don't even know.
Right.
And
Waste
so
of time, waste of money.
I had my dad served in Vietnam,
Oh
and
wow.
I
How
had an
many
uncle that
years?
served uh 5 years, I think. Um,
Oh my goodness.
but the thing was that he always told me and my brother, like he was like, I went there so you guys wouldn't have to go there. And so he always
Mhm.
made, like, he never made the service sound like some shit you want to do.
Glamorous.
Like,
Right.
he made it sound like it was just terrible. He was like, I mean, like he had a great time and he met some great people. He's like, but he
Right.
lost some friends and stuff like that. He was just like, he's like, nah, he said, y'all not doing that. So like, so the idea of coming out of high school and then going into the service was never an option for us. Like that's just,
Yeah.
he's like, man, he's like, man, I'll find you a job. He's like, that ain't gonna be
Right.
your job. So so my perspective was skewed, but this song was so incredible because it just opened my eyes as to how, you know, you see the BS. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't, just like you said, the whole skit when they start off when he's like, "Mom, a man's at the front door," and then Cube talks about how, you know, you get lured in, and he even makes a reference to, like, you know, like how it was when we were slaves, when we were in Africa. They said,
Right.
"Hey, come on, get on this ship." Well, they didn't tell us, "Come on, get on this ship," but you know what I
No,
mean.
like they
But
would get on the ship.
right. So, but I love this track, man. I love this
Yeah.
track.
Great
I
track.
mean, like I said, pro black as hell. Um,
Yes.
then the next track, track 14, Horny Little Devil.
Oh, I love this one. I loved it.
What you got on this one,
Oh,
man?
okay. I'm not gonna go there. But yeah, man, they had some people in my family that but no, it was just the sample was amazing, right? So that's a Sly
Yes.
sample. That's a Sly
Yes.
and the Family
Yes.
Stone sample.
Shout out to
And
Sly.
it's like, don't call me nigga whitey, don't call me whitey nigga. And it just was like saying the weakness of that race. Like y'all hump slow, y'all women look crazy, y'all fiending over our women,
Right.
and you just go somewhere, man. Who horny little devil? It's like I had a picture of the Klansman in the with the every in the full gear,
Wow.
and but yeah, man, I love the song. It just made me look at America different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
man.
and it has some comedy in there too, and color me
Oh
bad, but
yeah,
you
no
can't
doubt.
sex me up, and
Can't say, yo,
right. Horny little devil must be a FAG, and I'm just it was very like you said, it was homophobic, it was
homophobic.
misogynistic, it was he was just trying to get up, but he got his point across.
It was
You know,
pro black. It was
yeah, very
anti-white.
pro
It was,
black.
I mean, it was against interracial dating, interracial you know, and, you know, I don't even think Cube had issues with black men and black women. It was the white man and the black woman. You
Right.
know, he said, what did he say? He said, I begged you not to touch my mother, so you raped her, or something like that. And
Yeah.
he said,
Yeah.
that's why I'm lighter than the average brother. So,
Right.
you know, just going back to slavery. So like you get those again, a lot of gems are in these, for as misogynistic or anti-Semitic as this album is,
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of gems and a lot of things that he does and says to make you think about it.
Right.
And again, he's dropping gems and is not being preachy, and I can definitely appreciate that.
Oh yes. Oh
But
yes.
yeah, I love it, man. I love from the sample all the way down.
Oh yeah.
Um,
It's funny too because he's just going
oh,
off
no
on this white.
question.
He's going off on this white dude, whoever he is. Like,
No question.
yeah,
Well, yeah, he caught a mouthful.
yeah.
Then the next track is Black Korea, which is only 46
Woo.
seconds,
Yeah, it's
but he
like a.
got a lot of, he got a lot
Oh
off in 46
my
seconds.
god. Yeah, and like you said, he was foreshadowing because the
Yes.
riots came after that, and they were looting and rioting, but the Koreans, some had happened where the Korean lady shot a young girl or something like.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Natasha
Don't quote
Hawkins.
me.
Yeah,
So
Natasha
yeah,
Hawkins.
it was foreshadowing to the Koreas like in Minister Society had the scenes
Hmm.
like hurry up and
Yep.
buy like nobody wants to steal nothing out your little store, man. So it was a world that we didn't know because we didn't have Koreans in New Orleans.
No,
We had a lot of
no.
Vietnamese here, and but It was another dope song. It was social commentary. It was just he was like the
Yes,
news reporter, of his
exactly.
neighborhood, and I appreciated it, bro. So like you said, it was 46 seconds. Funny, the funniest part. I'm gonna let you tell the funny part at the end.
No, you tell me you tell me what you think the funny part is.
No, no, on Black Korea was the do the right thing. 20D
Oh,
Energizer. Yeah.
40D
See, nigga.
Energizer.
D, motherfucker. D. Learn to speak English, fighter, right? D. How many you say? 20,
D
motherfucker. 20.
20.
Motherfucker.
Oh,
You. Motherfucker me,
yeah,
huh? Just count the fucking batteries, all right?
yeah, that's great. That you got that dead on point, man. It was it was just that, man. It was 46 seconds, and it was again, much like you, man. I mean, there were no Koreans in
No.
Florence, South Carolina, where I grew up. I mean, it was just black and white. That was it. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
didn't even have any Hispanics, at least not from what I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he addressed a lot of stuff in, like I said, in a short period of time, and
Racism.
pure racism. He's like,
Yeah.
look, how can you have your store in my community and you
Mm-hmm.
treat me like a second class citizen in my neighborhood?
Right.
And it's very similar to the scene in Do the Right Thing with Mookie and Sal's Pizza. Sal's like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Mookie's like, how come, Bugging Out was like, "Man, how come you ain't got no brothers on the wall? You got all these Italians on the
Right.
wall, and
Right.
your pizza shop is in a black neighborhood
In the heart of
and
Bed-Stuy.
in the heart of Bed-Stuy, and it's the same thing. And even like you mentioned the shooting of Natasha Hawkins, I remember that story.
Wow.
I didn't see. I saw blurred images of the video, but the girl Natasha Hawkins, we don't know what she said on the tape, but I mean, like she
It
literally
doesn't.
she had her back turned, and she was just lit. I don't think she even had anything in her hand. She was walking out, so you see the person come from behind the counter, and you see him pull a gun, and it's
Mm.
like, I mean, just shot her in cold blood, and I mean, like, for what? And it was just
Over
like,
some
oh
words, over some
yeah, I mean,
candy.
it was just crazy, man. So it was, so songs like that, I mean, things
Mm-hmm.
like that inspired that type of song, and it addressed it. And it's something big that you know another fallout from the riots was, the business owners that were in these black neighborhoods. Those were some of the first ones that got burned down in South Central
Yeah.
when the
Yeah.
riots happened. um but yeah, then we moved to track 16.
Mm.
True to the game.
Oh the
What
video,
you got
Kyle. Do
on
you
this one,
remember the
man?
video? Do you
Yeah,
remember the video?
you was
Okay.
hardcore hip
So,
hop. Look at
oh
yourself,
boy,
boy.
you
You
then
then
flip
flip flop,
flopped.
giving our music away
What
to
is
the
my?
mainstream. Don't you know they
You
ain't
know they
down with your
ain't down
team?
with the team.
They just sent your boss
Oh,
over, put a bug in your ear, and then you
now
crossed
you
over.
crossed over.
They'll have
Oh,
you on
bruh.
MTV this year. He was like, nah, they'll have
Oh,
a
it
new nigga
was
next year. You're out in
right.
the
It
cold. No
was
more white fans and no more
no
soul.
more
And you
soul.
might have a heart attack when you find out the black folks don't want you back.
Don't want you back. Bye, nigga.
Man, listen, I
Bruh,
could rap that
that
all day.
song, bro. When he said, "You know that's right. You ain't white, so stop holding your
Holding
ass
your
tight.
ass tight
Why you trying to pass with your black
with your black
ass?"
ass.
Bro, the video, it was shots. It was so many shots at TV personalities on MTV. I
Yes.
don't know if it was Bill
Yes.
Bellamy. It was a shot at MC Hammer.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
was killing Hammer, but Hammer, truth be told, kids, and Hammer is a real dude. He's from the
He
streets of Oakland. Don't get it
he is.
twisted. He's
Don't
a
get it
real dude.
twisted.
He'll have you, yeah, he'll have you 6 feet if he
Right.
wants to. So,
Yeah.
but
Don't
yeah,
let the
that video
dancing
just
fool
was
you.
like, no, don't let it. Don't. But yeah, but another dope song, man, about the keeping it real was popular at that time. So nobody wanted to, and even EPMD had the crossover song,
Mm-hmm.
crossover. So it was very important in the hip hop community to not sell out.
Yes.
But on Heinz, and like there was no hip hop commercials at that time.
Mm-mm.
Nobody was getting Sprite deals, sneaker deals, product deals like these young kids are now. So it was very important to keep it real. And I believe Q, like, yo, man, these dudes on MTV, you're surrounded by white people, they're gonna fire you. MC Hammer, even though I liked some of the MC Hammer stuff, I'm not gonna front to y'all. I did. It was very
Oh, we all
popular.
did.
But you know what I'm saying? But it just made me look at Hammer different, you know, and to not sell out. But it was another
Hmm.
great beat, another great track, you know.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah,
how did
I
you
agree
feel
a
about it?
thousand percent. A thousand percent, I agree. One of my favorite tracks on the album, I think it was uh, it was fitting because, at like you said, at the time in hip hop, and this is going to be kind of hard for, especially those who are younger listening and watching, to understand. Like, you were looked down upon if you made money from from hip hop.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
your goal should have been just to get on the radio or get your video played on TV, but it wasn't to make money. So when somebody like Hammer came through and he had a Rick James sample for "You Can't Touch This," and Hammer was on MTV and he had Hammer pants and
he
Hammer
was a rock
cartoons,
star,
Hammer,
Kyle.
he was making millions. You know, he was viewed as somebody who was a sellout, but he really wasn't selling out. Because I don't think Hammer sought out to go there. To me, at that particular time, a definition of a sellout is if you sold yourself or sold your soul or sold your music to,
Right.
to cross over with her. And I don't think Hammer made that
Hmm.
music to cross over because, he had other songs like that on previous albums before he blew, if you will.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but he took a shot at Hammer, and like I said, it was just, that song is just so funny to me, and the video is even
It
funnier.
is.
Because
Oh
I
my
think
God, when he
that was DJ
dancing,
Pooh, right? Yeah, it was Pooh. Wasn't that Pooh in the
dancing.
video? Hmm.
I haven't seen
I
it in
think of,
years, but when they
I think
showed
that
the
was Pooh.
person doing a running man, that was hilarious.
But yeah, it was that song, man, just it takes me back because, like you said, it was looked down upon. You weren't supposed to
Yeah.
make money, in hip hop, which
And
is
truth
a
be told, MC Hammer
mhm,
took care of the whole
everybody,
community,
everybody.
everyone. And if that's selling out, I
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
he
Hammer
took
ain't sell
care
out,
of his.
man.
He literally took care of his people in the community. Everybody in
Well,
the
you know what it
neighborhood had a
was.
job.
You know what it was. It was rap. It wasn't even hip hop at that particular time. So we're talking 1991. At that particular time, it
Hmm.
was really about just keeping rap where it was, and rap was starting to get bigger and cross over, and it was getting play on MTV and getting videos and stuff like that,
Yes.
and money was starting to come into. So when money was coming
Yeah.
in, the OGs at the time, they were upset because, and it trickled down to the fans, like, we ain't supposed to be making money. And so, you look at it like, and like, wait a minute, if what are we doing here if I'm not supposed to be, because you're not
Right.
looking at Michael Jackson or Prince or Diana Ross or Whitney Houston saying you're not supposed to make money. So why is it we're in rap, we're not supposed to make we're supposed what are we supposed to be doing if we're not making money?
Exactly.
And
Right.
but I think the gatekeepers at the time wanted to make sure that when money was made, the art wasn't lost. And you can make a case that, it probably did happen down the road. But
Oh
I think it was
yes.
still a really, really dope song, man. Really, really dope song.
Oh,
One of my
amazing.
favorites on the album.
Amazing, man. Yeah.
Um, then we get to the posse cut, track 17 of the Life side, called Colorblind. And this featured Ice
Mm.
Cube, Deadly Threat, Cam, the Mad Circle, King T, and JD. What did you think about this one?
JD, that's the guy a part of Lynch Mob.
Yes,
You were saying
yes, yes.
yeah, and
JD.
T Bone or something. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. T-Bone.
JD. It's we don't. I don't hear nobody mentioning that this is a posse cut,
It
and
is.
clearly it is. I mean, it has a little dark undertone. The beat is very. It's a very pop the cassette in the tape and ride
Mm-hmm.
to
Yes,
at
yes.
night. Like, man, I'm colorblind. The fact that they were like, yo, this gang stuff is real out here, but I'm trying to get
Yes.
away from it. I don't want to walk down the street and get harassed like, hey man, what set you claiming? Like, I don't bang. I write the good rhymes.
Good
And
rhymes.
I'm a victim of neighborhood crimes.
Right.
Like, and I thought that was dope because it was all black men, like, yo, we out here
Mm-hmm.
in South Central. We see what's going on. We lost cousins, we got uncles in jail. We don't want to do this anymore. We're gonna give you our perspective on it. So I thought it was an amazing track, man. And I'm gonna tweet that, man. Like, why doesn't anybody mention this is a posse cut? It's always
Yeah.
we're in the same gang. Uh, the symphony, Wu
Yep.
Tang,
Yep.
or you know what I'm saying?
Self-destruction.
Scenario, all yeah, self destruction. All those get mentioned, but colorblind, I mean, that never gets mentioned. That's a great
Yeah,
point, man.
it was a really good song, man. And I think the thing that always impressed upon me was that it talked about gang life, but it didn't necessarily celebrate it. It
Right.
was, like you said, them trying to move away from it and just letting people know,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I ain't about that, because I think maybe they saw in themselves, like, look, we're at this stage now where we're rapping, we're touring, we're getting
Mm-hmm.
money. We don't want to, we you can't help but be gang affiliated, living out there. I mean, I think that goes without saying,
Right.
because your neighborhood
Right.
you could be affiliated with a gang just based on where you live, and that ain't got nothing to do with you, because your house or you were living there
Mm-hmm.
before the gang got there. But
Right.
yeah, I love this joint, man. Another, like I said, another banger on that side. Then we hit the track 18, doing dumb shit.
How many times have we said I was young and dumb and full of cum? A
Man, listen.
lot. We did a lot of dumb shit, man. Not too much that we went to jail or it was
Right,
detrimental, but we did some
right.
dumb shit.
Did a lot of dumb shit.
I
A
I,
lot of
I
dumb.
loved it because he goes through the three stages.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
elementary, high school. Wait, no, elementary, junior high, and high school. Primary, secondary. This just your phases of life, man. So,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I was 13 and I was at the middle. So I'm like, damn, I can't wait to get to high school and break my virginity. And Jimmy started shaking.
Yep.
Like my
He
body
talked
started
about
shaking,
his
and Jimmy felt funny.
funny.
Wait, how does the song starts? I think no, okay, but yeah, that's another great picture he painted, and he got me prepared for high school and just hanging with the OGs and going back and forth, snapping on each other, and
Yep.
it's just another testament to
Pitching
his
pennies.
brilliance, man. Oh,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. He talked about, his
Yeah,
first sexual experience. He said he jumped up because he thought she broke his joint. Like, because he
right,
felt
right.
funny. His body started jerking and stuff. He
Jimmy
started, I mean,
felt
like,
funny.
so like that right there just made me laugh, man, because it's like, you know,
Yeah.
you people, your OGs or your brothers or uncles or whoever, or maybe even your pops told you about what your first sexual experience is gonna be like, but the first time it happens, you're like,
Mm-mm.
wait a minute, like, is this what it's supposed to
You didn't
be?
tell me all this, Pop.
Yeah, you ain't tell me all
Right.
this. Like,
It's
you
not
left a
that
lot of
great.
stuff out.
You did,
you
bro.
you left a lot of stuff
It was,
out. So yeah,
yeah, they did, man. They
yeah,
did. But
this
like,
was
if our parents didn't
joint,
talk
man.
to us, Cube kind of gave us a
Exactly.
precursor to what it's going to be like, man. Yeah.
Exactly.
Another
Exactly.
dope one, man.
Then we get to track 19, Us. Um, this song right
Whew.
here, listen,
It was Cube held the mirror up.
you took the words right out of my
Cube
mouth.
held we held basically when I hear that song, I'm holding the mirror up, or I'm holding the mirror up to we all have stories. It could be
Mm-hmm.
family or friends or somebody you don't know. It's always one person that's going to mess it up for everybody. Like if you go by your cousins, one of your cousins is bad. Everybody getting a whipping. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I don't know
Everybody.
who did it, who broke the pot, who broke the glass, but if y'all don't tell me who did it, all y'all getting y'all
Everybody.
ass bust. Right. So it was a song that just was self-reflecting. Like
Yeah,
then they had
yeah.
people during the song like, why when we go to a concert, one motherfucker got to ruin it for everybody, and we got to leave the cancel concert, or somebody starts shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, bro, another gem, man. He just kept dropping gems all over the place, bro.
Yeah.
Damn,
He said, us will always sing the blues because all we care about is hairstyles and tennis shoes. I was like, God damn,
bro.
Q.
Oh, materialistic stuff. You could tell when
Oh
somebody
man.
black get money because they go buy that car, like
Yeah,
they
man.
go get the fanciest clothes. We gotta be the flashiest. We
Yeah.
gotta be the
He spoke the
loudest.
truth on this one. And I
He
think this one
did
stepped on a lot of toes, but
a lot.
he was spitting the real. He was spitting the real.
He was, man.
Um,
He was.
and then we come to the final track of the album, track 20. 5 minutes and 15 seconds of pure fire. The track is called
Mm.
You already know what it is. It is called No Vaseline, where Ice Cube sets aim at NWA and he manages to pick
Oh
off
man,
every single member.
with
What'd you
precision.
think of it?
He was a
What'd you think?
sniper. Yo, Kyle. Ice Cube was on the top of the hotel building, right,
Yep.
or
Yep.
just waiting, and he plucked each member off
Easily.
with like I said, with precision, easily. Crosshairs, you gone. Like it was just an obliteration of that group, man. And being that young, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know too much about hip hop, but I knew that was an annihilation. And it just made me like, as I got older, I went back and listened to The Bridge. The Bridge is
Mm-hmm.
over,
Mm-hmm.
South Bronx, all the hit 'em up. This is one of my favorite, besides the bitch in you, where Common kills Q. But
Right.
this is up there as far as diss tracks, man. He didn't hold back. He told your name. Some disses nowadays, these young guys, they be sneak dissing. I'm like, no, 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 no,
Mm-hmm.
no. Cube said your name. So just amazing, bro. I couldn't believe he got away with that and he didn't get touched.
No,
You
I mean,
know,
because there was nothing they could say. There was nothing they could.
it
I
was
mean,
kind of
like
he kind of aired out their dirty laundry.
he aired out everything, yelling Compton, but you moved to Riverside. I never have dinner with the president. And when I see your ass again, I'll
uh,
be hesitant. Oh my
hesitant.
God.
Yeah,
Man, yellow
yeah.
boys on your team, so you're losing. Hey, yo, Dre, stick to producing. Man, like you said, he picked off every single one. And I remember when we went to see my wife and I, we went to go see Untitled Chapter.
Hello, Kyle. Kyle, can you hear me? They sleeping? Oh, Kyle, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
You back? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what happened. Okay, let's remove. Okay, good. Okay. Um, yeah, what I was saying was like he just, I mean, like he annihilated everybody. And he wasn't playing like and the thing about it was when you heard NWA had dissed him, you weren't sure how he was going to respond or if he was going to respond at all. And to be honest, I don't even remember how much time it was between, them releasing their songs
I don't
at
either. Right.
at him, or it might have been a year, maybe I don't know. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, man, when I heard that and when we saw the movie, I was interested to see how that was going to play out, and just seeing their reaction of how they reacted. And then Yella said it, he made it look comic. He's like, damn, he fucked us up. You know, um, Crazy man. It was just I still think and I still maintain at least to me, I think
Hmm.
this is the coldest, the hardest diss record ever. Cause I mean, he just NWA was known as the world's most dangerous crew. And he
Right.
destroyed the world's most dangerous crew, and they couldn't, and he never responded. They couldn't. It was nothing they could
No,
say. Um, yeah, Ice
that's
Cube, man. I
amazing,
mean,
bro. One guy against the group. Pusha T. I'm sorry, bro. You killed Drake. Yes.
right, right,
Meek Mill and Drake and all that. These new disses. I'm just like y'all was
yeah,
dissing each other. But I ain't gonna lie.
right.
Pusha T's diss was
Oh,
that
I
was
love
below the
Pierce
belt.
Jesus,
Yeah, it
but you
was
know what?
amazing. He
And
got
that
him.
was the thing too. Like that, people were saying, "Oh man, you shouldn't. It shouldn't be personal." I'm like, if you dissing somebody, especially if you
Shit.
don't like them, it's supposed to be. There's no
Oh, it's
rules in
gonna
none of
get
this.
ugly.
It's gonna
None.
get ugly. It's supposed to get ugly. I mean, they talked about raping him with a broom, beating him up and
Oh
shooting
yeah,
him
it
and
was
all kind of
horrible.
stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I mean, you didn't know what Cube was gonna say, but you knew he was gonna say something.
Oh
So
my god.
yeah, no Vaseline.
Then the
perfect.
beat, the beat, the beat, the beat,
Come
the
on, man.
beat. That Daz beat.
Yes.
I think Brick made that song,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
man,
Yep. It was
just a
Brick. It was
great
Brick.
way to end an album, bro. Jeez, Louise, man,
Yeah,
amazing.
man. I love it. I love it. Before we get out of here, man, we touched on it a little earlier. If you had to give it mics under the Source Magazine's mic system, how many mics are you giving it? Because I think this album got, I want to say, it got 4.5 mics from the Source.
Hmm.
Um, what would you give it if you were giving it mics?
Today
Mm-hmm.
or at that time? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So I'll give it about a four and a half, or 4 to 4.5, man. I like I said, man. There's maybe a few songs that I'm like, cause us, I liked it, but I guess the production
Mm-hmm.
wasn't what I want. I think I wanted more production on us. And but yeah, that's the only thing, man. But yeah, I'll give it 4.5 mics. How
Yeah,
about you?
I'm at four. I'm at 4.5. As much as
Mhm.
I enjoyed the posse cut, um, I could have just been cool with just Cube and maybe JD. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not a bad
yeah,
song. It is it's a song I like, but it's my least like song on the album. But it's not a skip for me. Um,
right.
but I think that if I'm saying blemishes, that might be the only blemish. But other than that, the album's flawless. And again, by if it had come out, later in the 90s, it might have been a double album. But again,
Hmm.
it's an hour long. It's an hour
Yes.
and 1 minute. And but it's flawless, man. This is a really, really dope album. 4.5 mics, I think, is very deserving. Um,
Hmm.
Ice Cube he didn't miss, man. He didn't miss with this one. Uh I again, it's something that I still love. I still play. For as much
Yes.
as I love it, I do say that, and I do think that I'm not America's Most Wanted is slightly better. So
I'm gonna give that to Bomb Squad too. With
yeah, yes,
they
yes,
helped, and his pen was amazing. Another America's Most Wanted is just the storytelling,
yeah,
because I
man.
came to it late. I was on Death Certificate first, then I went
Okay,
back,
okay, yes,
and I just was like, oh my god,
yeah.
this is
He was
good.
killing it. He was
Just for
killing it.
America's Most Wanted to transition to Death Certificate is amazing, man.
Yes,
This is an amazing transition, man. So
yeah, man.
yeah,
He
Cube
Ice
is
Cube. He wasn't the Are We There Yet guy back then. He was he was pretty feared by a lot of white people at that time.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so yeah, man, that's it. We have wrapped it up. Before we get out of here, man, Vernell, tell folks where they can find you, man, where they can check you out at. This is obviously your first time on the podcast, but bro, you'll
yeah.
be back. Yeah, you will be
Yeah,
back,
I
and we will
appreciate,
definitely do
man.
this again.
I just wanna say thanks for inviting me to the show, man.
Man, no
I
problem.
love the content, and I'm just happy to be here, bro. Y'all can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at Neltron 8000.
There you go. There you
Yep.
go. And he's
Yeah.
always on there talking hip hop too. So if you're a hip hop
Yeah.
head, if you like that real hip hop, check him out. He'll definitely spit some gems for you too as well. You guys know where to find me. 12 Kyle on all socials. The podcast is the 12 Kyle podcast on all socials. The podcast drops every Thursday at midnight. From time to time this year, we'll drop bonus episodes on Sundays at midnight. So make sure that you subscribe. It's on all platforms. You can find it anywhere, any DSPs. There's no reason not to subscribe. So make sure that you subscribe. That's going to do it for us. Once again, man, Ice Cube, Death Certificate.
Yes.
30 years later. Man, it's crazy to believe it's 30 years. 30 years
Getting
later,
old,
man.
bro.
I know, right? We getting up there. That's gonna do it for me. So for my man Vernell, I'm your boy 12 Kyle. We'll catch you guys next time. 5 G's.